So blue sparks flew into the brownies' brown fur, where they went out like tiny shooting stars. All right, she muttered, but the way that rat carries on is enough to drive anyone crazy. Oh, really? Then just you listen to me. Rat drew herself up to her full height, planted her paws on her hips, and bared her teeth. Humans are coming, she squeaked so shrilly that her voice echoed all around the cave. Human beings are coming. You know what that means, you leaf-borrowing, mushroom-munching, shaggy-haired brownie. Humans are coming. Coming here. Suddenly, all was deathly quiet. Sorrel and Firedrake looked at each other as if they had been turned to stone. But Rat was trembling with rage. Her whiskers were all a-quiver, and her tail twitched back and forth on the cave floor. Firedrake was the first to move. Humans? He asked, bending his neck and holding his paw out to Rat. Looking offended, she scrambled onto it. Firedrake raised her to his eye level. Are you sure? He asked. Perfectly sure, replied the Rat. Firedrake bowed his head. It was bound to happen some day, he said quietly. They're all over the place these days. I think there are more and more of them all the time. Sorrel was still looking stunned. Suddenly, she jumped up and spat into the fire. But that's impossible, she cried. There's nothing here they'd want, nothing at all. That's what you think. The Rat bent over so far that she almost fell off Firedrake's paw. Don't talk such nonsense. You've mingled with humans, right? There's nothing they don't fancy, nothing they don't want. Forgotten that already, have you? Okay, muttered Sorrel. You're right. They're greedy. They want everything for themselves. They do indeed. The Rat nodded. And I'll tell you, they are coming here. The dragonfire flared up, and then the flames burned down until the darkness, like some black animal, swallowed them. Only one thing could extinguish Firedrake's fiery breath so fast, and that was sorrow. But the dragon blew gently on the rocky ground, and flames flickered up once more. This is bad news indeed, Rat, said Firedrake. He let Rat jump up on his shoulder, and then went slowly towards the mouth of the cave. Come on, Sorrel, he said. We must wake the others. And they won't just be pleased, growled Sorrel, smoothing down her ruffled fur and following Firedrake out into the mist. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave the reading for today. So let's have a look at a word that came up in that text. So on page 11 in front of you, you'll have a see that it says her whisker were all a-quiver. Now, the word a-quiver is an adjective, so we're describing her whiskers, okay? Now, this is 3 syllables, so a-quiver, okay? 3 syllables. Now, to define quiver means to twitch or to tremble, okay? So let's put it in a sentence to understand the context. So her hands were a-quiver with fear, okay? So let's use some synonyms to replace that word to try and understand that sentence a little bit more. So synonyms, so words that mean the same, could be shake, shiver, shudder, quiver, or tremble. So if you imagine what happens when you are fearful or you're scared, your hands or your shoulders or your body might start to shake, okay? So it could be that they were a-quiver with fear, okay? So they could have been trembling with fear, they could have been shaking with fear, they could have been shuddering with fear. So you can use all of those synonyms to replace that adjective. Now the antonyms, which are going to be the opposite, would be controlled, firm, settled, still, calm, or steady. So it's going to be the opposite of what you might feel like or what you might do when you're in a situation where you're not scared. So as an adjective, it's describing the way something does something. Okay, so a-quiver, so it means to twitch or to tremble. So your task for today is to have a go at these questions. Now you have these questions on your worksheet in front of you, and I would like you to have a go at doing these on your own. Now I'm going to work through the first 2 questions with you so that we can start to pick apart how we answer these questions. So it's important to try and work out and remember, what are the keywords in the question? How are these keywords going to help me find the answers in the text? And what exactly does the question want me to answer? So when we are retrieving information, we are looking for clues in the text that are going to give us the answers to our question, okay? So let's have a look at the first one. So where is the story set? So let's have a look at the very first page. I'm going to read the first bit to you. All was still in the Valley of Dragons. Now I'm going to stop right there, because I think that first sentence gives us a good idea of where the story is set. It's clearly set in a valley that is the home or belongs to the dragons. But I'm going to read a little bit further to see if there's any other information that can give me a little bit more of an understanding of what the setting is of my story. So all was still in the Valley of the Dragons. Mist had drifted in from the sea nearby and was clinging to the mountains. So this gives a little bit more of a context as to where this valley is. So I now know this valley must be somewhere along the coast of a country or a city or a continent, because it says that the sea was nearby. Now we know the sea, okay, goes around the edges of our countries. Okay, so we must be somewhere on the sea coast. And we know that then we must be somewhere very close to mountains, because it says was clinging to the mountains. So wherever this valley is set deep within the mountains and is somewhere on the coastline, because we have the sea. Okay, so just from reading a little bit further on, we've managed to gain some more information to help us answer that question. So the clues there is the valley, nearby sea, and the mountains. So those are the three key words there that are going to help us answer that question. Now we know when we're talking about the settings, we're talking about where it is. So we're looking for the location. Let's have a look at number 2. Who was the rat talking to at the beginning of the story? So when it says who, I'm looking for a name. So this must be the name of a character. Now, when it says who was the rat talking to, talking must imply that I need to find some speech, and I need to look around that speech to try and work out who that character is talking about. Now, I'm looking for speech that is said by the rat. So I know I'm looking for speech about the rat. I know I'm looking for speech, so I'm looking for speech marks to find it in the text. And I'm looking to answer who she was talking to, so I need a name. So those are the 3 things I need to be looking at and be wary of in my question. So let's have a look at this first bit here. So a rat came scuttling down the slope, fell head over heels, tumbled down the moss-covered rock and picked herself up again. So here we've introduced the rat, okay, so this is the bit where I need to start reading on from. Here I can see speech, okay, so let's have a read the first bit. Didn't I say so? She muttered crossly to herself. Didn't I tell them? So the didn't I say so is the speech. This is what the character is saying. But more importantly, it explains in there who she's talking to. So let's read it again. Didn't I say so? She muttered crossly to herself. So to answer the question of who was the rat talking to, the rat was indeed talking to herself. So sometimes the information is a little bit clearer for you to be able to retrieve from the text. So I have now had a go at doing the questions 1 and 2 for you. Okay, please do go back though and write down the answers to those questions so you have them as a copy. And I would then like you to have a go at writing the answers to questions 3 to 8. However, you guys are now in year 5, which means I expect you to write in full sentences. So you need to remember the way we do it in all of our reading lessons and all of our English lessons. You need to imagine that I don't have a copy of the questions. So if I don't have a copy of the questions and I'm reading your answers, you need to be using the question stems to help you phrase your answers. So, for example, number 3, what did Sorrel look like? Sorrel looked like, or Sorrel was, ... Okay? What is the name of the dragon in the cave? The name of the dragon in the cave is... Okay, so I want you to make sure that you are using the question stems to help you phrase your answers. Okay, tomorrow we're going to carry on with this with our next reading lesson. We're going to look a little bit deeper into the book. So I hope you're excited, seeing as I've left you on a little bit of a cliffhanger. Okay, good luck, year 5.